Otrila moj dom, kako si krasan, kako me izbavljaš iz ničnih rana. Po letni vročini nastav me vrhe, da tam si spočinil samotni srce.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to my channel. And tonight, I will be breaking down why Barry Soetoro is the shadiest person to ever run this country.
Hey, listen up. Hey, I told you to be focused, and you're not focused right now. Listen to what I'm saying. Hold up. Hold up.
So right out of the gate, this guy came out lying, making it a point to tell everyone that he was Christian. We're like, your name is Barrack Hussein Obama. I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to say you're probably a Muslim. But no, he made a point. And it wasn't even so much like that he was Muslim or Christian. It was just the fact that he so blatantly lied to everyone right out of the gate. Which brings us to clip one.
What I was suggesting, you are absolutely right that John McCain has not talked about my Muslim faith. And you're absolutely right that that has not come... my Christian faith, my Muslim faith.
Now, I know you're not going to believe this, but they actually cut that part out of the final edit. I know that's crazy. But that part never aired. Which leads us to this gem. Here's then Senator Obama with one Luis Farrakhanom. You know, the guy that preaches death to whitey all the time? Yeah, no big deal. And here is then Senator Obama traveling to Ukraine to look at a weapons silo. Seems an odd trip for a junior senator. Which leads us to clip number 2. The time Barrack Obama admitted on live TV that he is actually training ISIS.
As I've said before, this aspect of our strategy was moving too slowly, but the fall of Ramadi has galvanized the Iraqi government. So with the additional steps I ordered last month, we're speeding up training of ISIL forces, including volunteers from Sunni tribes in Anbar province.
I guess that must have been before they decided who was going to be the bad guy in their little planned war over there, whose sole purpose was being the crux to send their Trojan horse and all the migrant caravans all through Europe, and then they tried in North America. Thankfully, Trump won and stopped that, which, you know, surprise, surprise, now there's migrant caravans coming up through Mexico. They're so predictable. Which leads us to clip number 3, the time Obama got caught on a hot mic committing, you guessed it, Russian collusion.
My last place for you. Yeah, after my election, I have more flexibility. Yeah, I understand. I transmit this information to Vladimir and Alexander.
All right, this one I want to take a second look at. Now, look how shadily he looks around after he gives him that message to Vladimir.
My last place for you. Yeah, after my election, I have more flexibility. Yeah, I understand. I transmit this information to Vladimir and Alexander.
Looks like a high school kid that just bought a bag of weed.
Attorney General Eric Holder is in the middle of a battle with Congress over the Fast and Furious program. You'll remember that Fast and Furious was the program run out of the Department of Justice. It allowed hundreds of guns to be intentionally trafficked across the border into Mexico.
Yeah, nothing to see here. Just the guy who spent 8 years trying to disarm America, sending machine guns south of the border and arming the Mexican cartel. Guys, it was just a sting operation, though. Which leads us to our most interesting Obama connection to date, which actually just happened last year.
New today, 5 adults arrested inside that filthy New Mexico compound where police found a boy's remains and 11 starving children. Those adults making their first court appearances today. Authorities raiding the compound last week in search of a missing child with severe medical problems. A couple whose land the compound sits on told local and state law enforcement months ago they believed they saw this missing child back in either January or February. And now the same couple is wondering why law enforcement waited until last Friday to carry out the raid.
Now, the reason why this one gets interesting is because the man who's arrested father is a radical imam from Brooklyn, Siraj Wahaj, who has ties to the 1993 World Trade Center bombing. He's a supporter of Al Qaeda and Hamas. He's coming out and said that. And the connection, why this is so interesting, is because he spoke at Obama's 2012 DNC. Now, not the actual convention. It was a week before they had the first ever Juma. It's Arabic for gathering at the DNC. And he was the keynote speaker at this. The three Islamic-centered event beginning with a Friday afternoon prayer and sermon and an Islamic banquet and an all-day Islamic festival. And he was the grand imam for this event. So this man who was training school shooters' father is a huge tie to Barack Obama. And you say, why is that a big deal? That's because the rate of mass shootings tripled under Obama. I only went back as far as Reagan, but Reagan in 8 years had 31. Bush in 4 years had 18. Clinton in 8 years had 54. Bush in 8 years had 49. And Barack Obama in 8 years had 132. This is the guy who constantly pushed gun control. Every time there was a mass shooting, gun control, gun control, gun control, gun control. Who was just linked to a compound where they were training school shooters. Not only did this get minimal coverage, but no one will tell you they never fully investigated that place because it was bulldozed right away. The authorities came right out and said, oh, we didn't get a chance to do a full investigation there because someone bulldozed the site. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. Which brings us to our fourth clip. Grab 'em by the Barry.
Yeah, another guy said, but I tell you what, you won't see me moving to no African jungle anytime soon. Or some goddamn desert somewhere sitting on a carpet with a bunch of Arabs. No, sir. And you won't see me stop eating no ribs either. Gotta have them ribs. And pussy too. Don't Malcolm talk about no pussy? Now you know that ain't gonna work.
Hold up! Hold up! Hold up! Everybody sit down and be quiet for a second.
This next one comes to us straight from the WikiLeaks, from an email from Fred Burton, where he stated, I think Obama spent about $65,000 on taxpayers' money flying in pizza and dogs from Chicago. Now, unless those pizza and dogs were made of gold, I think it's pretty safe to say that they're using code for something. And that's when a lot of people chimed in and said that the FBI's own pedo code is young boy hot dog, young girl pizza. So, I mean, I think that $65,000 mark makes a little more sense now. Which brings us to clip number 5. Is Obama gay?
And do you think that the country will see the United States will see the first gay president or the first woman president?
We already have it with Obama, so let's just calm down.
Got it.
You know Michelle is a trans.
I'm sorry, she's a what?
A transgender. We all know.
Oh my gosh.
Joan Rivers would never get to elaborate on those comments, however, because she died only a few weeks after that during a routine cosmetic surgery. Maybe Larry Sinclair could shed some light on this topic.
I mentioned I could use a line or two to wake up. Senator Obama asked me if I was referring to coke, and I stated I was. After stating I was, Obama stated he could purchase cocaine for me and then made a telephone call. Returned a short while later with an 8-ball of cocaine, which he gave to me. I did ingest a couple of lines of cocaine, and shortly thereafter, Senator Obama produced a glass cylinder pipe and packet of crack cocaine from his pocket. Obama then smoked the crack cocaine. I performed fellatio on Senator Obama in the limousine during the time Senator Obama was smoking crack cocaine, after which I had the driver take me to my hotel, the Comfort Suites, Gurnee, Illinois. The following day, November 7th, 1999, Senator Obama appeared at my hotel room, unannounced, uninvited, where we again ingested cocaine and I again performed fellatio on Senator Obama.
Now, Larry Sinclair's congressional testimony was just made relevant again when it was discovered last week that Barack Obama follows a gay sex toy page on Twitter. Now, just to be clear, it doesn't matter if he's gay or straight. Who gives a shit? I think it's disgusting, but hey, it's your life, man. Do whatever you want. The problem is, you can't have a president that lies on this scale. Which brings us to our next clip. Here is Barry Soetoro calling his wife Michael not once but twice. That's not a mistake you
My
make.
kids asked me, they said, you've got to ask the president, does anything scare him?
You know, well, when Michelle's mad, I get worried. Most of all, Admiral Mullen, Deborah, Michael and I also want to...
So now the question becomes, whose kids are these? For the answer to that question, you have to look no further than this picture seen here on vacation with the Obamas. They're good friends Martin Nesbitt and Anita Blanchard. And if you look here, Malia is a dead ringer for Martin, and Sasha is a dead ringer for Anita. Hey, you couldn't pick two worse kids to try and pull this off with. So here you got a guy lied about his religion, lying about his sexual orientation, lying about his husband, and borrowing someone else's kids. Now, when you have someone who can't be trusted like that, whose whole life is a lie, that's when you have shady things happening behind the scenes. Like when he appointed Michael Taylor, a former Monsanto executive, as head of the FDA. Now, he's supposed to be such a far-left liberal who are all into organic foods and all natural and everything. And here's a guy putting someone associated with Monsanto, the GMO kings, as the head of the Food and Drug Administration. And of course, while everyone was distracted by his charismatic smile and his little appearances on Ellen, he was signing acts like this.
President Obama this week signed into law a bill that could have huge consequences on the future of food in the country. The Agricultural Appropriations Bill has been dubbed the Monsanto Protection Act by critics of the agricultural giant. That's because a provision in the law protects genetically modified seed patents from litigation over health risks. So if you get sick, too bad, you can't take it to court.
Which brings us to clip number 7. Barry Soetoro's real feelings on illegal immigration.
We are a generous and welcoming people here in the United States, but those who enter the country illegally and those who employ them disrespect the rule of law, and they are showing disregard for those who are following the law. We simply cannot allow people to pour into the United States undetected, undocumented, unchecked, and circumventing the line of people who are waiting patiently, diligently, and lawfully to become immigrants in this country.
So now is his current position on illegal immigration a lie? Or was that a lie? Who knows? This guy's got a full lifetime of talking out of both sides of his mouth with everything shrouded in secrecy. But I'll tell you what's not a lie, so much so that even Snopes, of all people, was forced to admit it was true, is that in 1991, when they were shopping his book around, part of his bio stated that he was born in Kenya. It says, born in Kenya and raised in Indonesia and Hawaii. Indonesia, which is right in line with what his former roommate said, Andrew Basiago, and quote, the Barrack Obama I knew was going by his Indonesian name, Barry Soetoro, and saying how he was a Muslim and that he had revealed to him that he was a lifelong member of the sect of Islam founded by a man named Muhammad Saboud in Indonesia, and a Muslim splinter group with about 20,000 members worldwide, known as Saboud for its founder. Which then led people to notice a very interesting thing about Muhammad Saboud and Barry Soetoro. They look exactly alike, which would explain the complete secrecy with his birth certificate. The fact that we had a president that had not produced a birth certificate is beyond mind-blowing. But one man stayed on him about this birth certificate. That man is named Donald Trump, and he continually, on several occasions, pressed him, where is the birth certificate? Where is the birth certificate? So finally, on April 27, 2011, Obama releases a birth certificate 3 years after he was elected president. And immediately, the very next day, people started ripping it to shreds, citing instance after instance why this was not real. And you say, why wasn't this bigger news? Why wasn't this a huge thing? You know, I remember him releasing his birth certificate real quick, and then that was it. It was over. Because what you don't remember is that immediately, only a few days later after he had released his birth certificate, he then did this.
Good evening. Tonight, I can report to the American people and to the world that the United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden, the leader of al-Qaeda.
Now, when asked for pictures of this, oh, well, they didn't take any pictures. They didn't want to release them. When asked for a body, oh, they dumped it overseas right away, to give him a proper Muslim burial, because you'd want to give that guy a proper burial. But that's okay. Fox News let the bag out only a few months after September 11th, reporting that he had already died. Osama bin Laden had died a peaceful death due to an untreated lung complication, the Pakistan Observer reported. So now this is completely out of everyone's memory. As soon as it came in, right in a week, completely flat-tired. Everything Trump did for years trying to get him to release it, he finally releases it, and what does he do? Flat tires it with the biggest drop you could have in your arsenal, capturing bin Laden, supposedly, even though Fox already reported him dead and there was no pictures and no evidence. Oh, and wouldn't you look here, the health director who approved Obama's birth certificate dies in a plane crash, and everyone else in that plane crash lived, but somehow she was the only one to die. Which leads us to the final example of why Barry Soetoro is the shadiest president of all time. And for this one, we will be going right to the Bible. Luke 10:18. And he said unto them, this is Jesus talking, and he said unto them, I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven. And you're saying, what does that have to do with Barack Obama? Well, Barack Obama wasn't born Barack Obama. He was Barry Soetoro. He personally changed his name to Barack Obama, who he tells us is his father, which we know it's Muhammad Saboot is his father. So what does he mean when he says he's my father? Well, Barak in Hebrew means lightning, and Obama means of a high place of worship. Lightning from a high place of worship. And he said unto them, I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven. So he changed his name to Barack Obama after his father, Satan. Now you could say that's just a coincidence. Maybe that is just a coincidence. I don't know. All I know is that this is a man who changed his name to the Hebrew meaning for Satan. And that, my friends, is the book on Barack Obama. Where we go one, we go all.
Well, when Michelle's mad about my Muslim faith, you won't see me moving to no African jungle.
My last election, after my election, I have more flexibility.
And pussy too. Don't Malcolm talk about no pussy? We're speeding up training of ISIL forces. We simply cannot allow people to pour into the United States undetected, undocumented, unchecked, and circumventing the line of people who are waiting patiently, diligently, and lawfully to become immigrants in this country.
Hold up! Hold up! Everybody sit down and be quiet for a second. Everybody sit down and be quiet for a second. This is what I mean about folks not being focused. I told you to be focused, and you're not focused right now. Listen to what I'm saying. Hold up.